North-South Connection. Welcome back to Ryan and JT's Excellent Wrestling Adventure, episode number 6. Myself and Ryan Gray taking you on this journey through wrestling history, doing some live watching with our friends. And of course, you can watch this and watch along with us on YouTube if you subscribe and follow us and watch there. Or you can listen on any podcast app as well, searching North-South Connection. This podcast is simulcast across both. Most of our stuff is simulcast across both. There are some exclusives, though. So just subscribe to both things, and you won't miss anything. Ain't that right, Ryan?
That's for sure, Justin.
Okay, very good. So the gimmick here is you and I invite a different friend in every episode. We're live watching 1-hour wrestling programs from wrestling history. And our first season gimmick is doing premiere episodes. I don't say pilots because they all get picked up, but we'll got premiere episodes of famous wrestling programs. So we've done stuff like Superstars, we've done Challenge. What else did we do so far? We did Action Zone.
Action Zone. We did Heat.
Yeah, Heat was a fun one. Velocity. So tonight we're going to fast forward. This is going to be the most current thing we've done so far. And we're going to go all the way to 2012. And to do that, we're going to bring in our most famous current wrestling analyst and expert. That is our good buddy, my co-host on WWE War. And you also hear him on Viewer's Choice with our buddy, not the tool man, Tim Taylor. That is Mr. Marcus Fuller. Marcus, how are you?
High praise and lofty expectations with that intro, but I'll try to deliver, man. I'm good. I'm excited to watch the show because we were talking before we got started. I don't think I've seen this since the inaugural airing, so I'm looking forward to going back and watching this.
I'm guessing I never saw it. That's my guess. I can say I know on PlayStation.com back in the day in 2013 we had a live main event review like every week at that point, but that would have been after this. So I'm guessing this will be new to me. This is from October 3rd, 2012. It is available on Peacock, but then again, too, if you're watching on YouTube and you look to the sky, you never know what you may find. So keep your eyes peeled. And we're going to go ahead and fire this up, and we're going to count in 3, 2, 1, play. So, Ryan, would you have guy?
What's that?
You're a main event guy? Did you watch this live at the time?
Oh, of course, I remember watching this. I just moved into my house about a year ago, so I can remember like watching it in my living room right before refurnishing it how it is now, or remodeling it how it is now. So I do recall my trip down memory lane. Does remember me in that old living room setup.
So how did it air? I know it eventually goes to the network when the network starts, but from 12 to 14, was it on TV or was it on the web?
It was on
I
TV.
believe it was on Ion.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was. Is it syndicated or is that cable?
It's kind of syndicated. Ion was like one of those like fifth or
air,
sixth, network television kind of channels. I think it used to be PAX.
Right.
My TV vibes, kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's like
that. Yeah.
Was Ion the religious one?
Yeah, it definitely skewed religious.
Chick-fil-A ads?
Rebranded, I guess you could say.
Ion Television. Let's see. Broadcast TV network owned by the Katz Broadcasting subsidiary. This is a tax shelter. Subsidiary of EW Scripps Company. It actually started in 1998 as PAX TV. It was family-oriented programming, rebranded as Independent Television in July 2005, and then moved on to Ion Television in 2007. So I remember PAX. I definitely remember PAX TV.
Are they still going?
Yeah, it looks like it. They started airing. Oh, yeah. So this is like it's definitely an over-the-air thing because they would have like the digital channels and all that. So like if Ion was like 12.1, it had the main feed. 12.2 actually started airing Home Shopping. 12.3 was QVC all under the Ion banner. There you go. Moses said we're on Ion.
Yeah, and I think they pretty much just rebranded to running like Law and Order SVU, Criminal Minds, CSI, kind of like that.
Yeah, Ion follows a programming strategy similar to major cable networks, with the majority of schedule being filled by acquired broadcast and cable drama series, fewer original programs, holiday films, etc. Unlike other broadcast networks, does not necessarily allow its own and operated stations affiliates to air syndicated programming during daytime and late night hours. Yeah, so I don't know how long Main Event is on here because it definitely does go to the network, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 16 or like Superstars ends, I think.
Yeah, because it also went to Hulu because Hulu had gotten kind of their toes into the live distribution. So yeah, Hulu had rights to it for a little bit.
I believe
Yeah,
it's
look-
still
then-
first strand on Hulu. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's first
It
strand
still
on
is,
Hulu.
yeah. It was on Ion from 12 to 14. It was on Hulu from 12 to present, so they had it as well. And then WWE.com had it for a year, 2013 to 14, while it was on Ion, and then the network it's been on since. And Peacock, obviously, network and the Peacock. Still going, apparently. I did not realize it still aired.
Oh yeah, you get this is the pre-Raw taping right now. You get two
Yeah.
matches. Usually Dana Brooke and Madcap Moss is late.
There you go. After
Good
the
work if you
cancellation of
can find it.
Superstars, main event became exclusive to Raw. So there you go.
Yep. And then 205 Live used to be on SmackDown.
So interesting start with Cole and Miz. Was Miz like a selling point of the show? Do you remember? It must have been, right? Like Miz is he on commentary or is he just hosting or whatever? But it seems like they would have used that as a selling point, probably.
Probably.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a kind of attraction selling point. Also good to just mix it up because we're definitely in the Michael Cole era.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cole and JBL as we covered on War, all that.
So this is post, like heel Cole is because he drops that when King has the heart attack, right? When's that? That's got to be right before this,
That's around
probably.
here, right?
Yeah,
King
because
has
he's
heart attack at 12 in the fall, right? Because I remember Monday Night
Yeah.
Football was happened. Was that 12?
I think so. I think Cole. It's crazy to think about, but Cole like does the heel shtick until here. Like he's doing it.
Yeah, September
for-
10th, 2012.
Okay, so here he's back to being his face Cole because that's when he changed. But like Mania 27 and those couple months after in 2011 is when they did all the Cole King stuff, and then he still is an asshole heel commentator for another year after that.
Mhm.
And it's the night of King's heart attack that they have him be serious, and then the next week he's like just back to being Michael Cole, and that's when JBL comes back and all that.
Does Heyman still got the ponytail? I think he does.
I think he's still out of here. So this is just like a Punk video
Yeah, a lot of
package. Well, I mean, he's
video
been world
package and
champion
then a
for a while now,
backstage
right?
interview,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the Survivor Series, correct?
Yeah.
2011.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he loses
So,
it to the
well,
Rock
Mr.
Rumble. 13.
And I like this because you got to figure new audience potentially on Ion over the air, like a showcase our world champion with a video package, so you can see what he's all about when you watch him wrestle tonight. I mean, we talked about it, Ryan, on all 5 of these so far. Like they really try and go roll the red carpet out, for these first ones, and for this one, they're gonna have your world champions wrestling on Ion. It's crazy to think about, but that's what they're doing to make sure this gets over.
Both your world champions too, versus Sheamus.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, this is definitely a different format though. How they're doing this with the in ring, then the video, throwing it to the video, throwing it to the backstage. I don't know. I kind of like it, honestly. It's
Yeah, I mean,
taking
you
up a
guys
lot of time.
You guys have talked about shows and like they kind of have like different formats, or they'll try like new things here and there, and then it's like how many shows until Vince gets bored and it just becomes like standard product. Like it's a bummer. But yeah, no, this is fresh, especially during this time when it's 3 hours of Raw and you've got SmackDown and all the programming is just identical. This is a breath of fresh air. Even just watching this dropping into like 2012 for what is this, a C show? Like it feels fresh.
Yeah. Sheamus second billing here.
Yeah. So to kind of just timestamp it, I don't know, somehow I fell behind, but judging by where everyone else is, I think we're right around 8 minutes right now if you're watching with us. Just starting a Sheamus video package. So
yeah, I kind of dig this.
When did Sheamus become Sheamus, you guys? Like, because I feel like there was a bias against him for a while because of the Triple H buddy thing. I mean, I remember liking him right away in ECW. Like him ending Noble's career, it was done well. But like then I feel like he hits that stretch of like he's not that good. He's just Triple H's workout buddy. And then like I feel like overnight he's like, oh yeah, Sheamus is a great worker and one of the best ever. Like when did that transition happen again?
For me,
when did he win the? Oh, go ahead.
Kind of like the Bar. I was like obviously still a smart towards him, but the Bryan thing that was pretty damaging to me at the WrestleMania 28, of course. But obviously it's not his fault. But going back, I appreciate. I wouldn't mind going back watching his white. What was it? What was that? The white shark. What was that?
Mm.
The
Was
Great
that
White.
his gimmick?
Great
Whatever?
White, was that what it was?
That's
Great
here.
White. I wouldn't mind going back watching that run, but really when he joined the bar, it's when the bar started up in '60, and that's probably when I started appreciating him and liking him more.
I've always been on that Sheamus serum. Only times I was probably down on Sheamus was like 14. That's when like he left because he was doing Ninja Turtles maybe, and he came back and he immediately kind of, even though he changed up his look, it was just like it's the same guy. Like not, he's just like overexposed, I think, and he was away for a bit, but it wasn't long enough.
Well, I think it's when he comes back with the mohawk, people like sick of him a little bit. Like, oh, look at this stupid look and all that. Was that? I think that's that return.
Yep, that
and
was
then
14.
I think he gets he gets too involved in the and we covered this, Marcus, on War. He gets way too involved in like the Reigns stuff where Reigns finally got over, won that tournament, and then they have Sheamus cash in. Like it was like, all right. So like overall, I think that's why the bar in most people's eyes is when it turns, because I think everyone was kind of sick of him. The League of Nations was kind of fun, but even then it was kind of like, okay. And then the bar started. He has a feud with Cesaro, and then the bar starts, and everyone's like, oh, this guy's awesome. And then I think they revisited a lot of stuff. And was like, oh, he's always been pretty damn good in the ring. I just think his reputation, and I do think there's a little bit of it that he was pushed pretty hard. So I think there's always a general resentment around that kind of stuff, like where the guy's getting super pushed and, he's not the choice or whatever, but
he found a really nice groove around the pandemic when he came back with like the old Irish clothes or whatever. He had the fun bar party. That was pretty cool. And he just became like a workhorse on SmackDown on the back end with the Big E stuff was good.
That was great, yeah.
And then just even recently with the Gunther stuff was amazing. So he just really found a groove. And then he's awesome with the Brawling Brutes as the leader. He's finally out there leading in the next generation of whatever Englishmen or whatever, Irishmen, whatever they want to be. So he's really found a groove lately. I dig him now.
Oh, now he's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I know, like Aaron loves the Sheamus Henry stuff. Like he talks about
that's good.
That a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and looking back on it, I really like the stuff with Reigns. Like I feel like he kind of got the best out of Reigns during that stretch that we covered on War.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was fine. I think at the time, I just think there was so much anger in the fan base, and I'm not saying it wasn't justified, but there was so much anger in the fan base in 2015, 14, 15, 16. That whole run with Punk, Bryan getting hurt, coming back, Reigns getting pushed down everyone's throat, the Rumble with Big Show and Kane throwing everyone out. Like, I just feel like there was so much, it was adversarial between the fans and the company, and there was nothing on the horizon as a legit competitor. Like all New Japan was hot, like really hot at that, and I think it's probably Ring of Honor's hottest period too. Was around that time with AJ and Nakamura and all that stuff going on in New Japan, and him going back and forth with Ring of Honor. Like I feel like that was the closest we had to an alternative, but it felt very much like it was the authority stuff. It's like, F you, we're going to do what we want to do, and we don't care what you say. And I feel like that didn't really shatter until 17, 18, when they started to really just give in, and NXT became the super indie and all that stuff. Like, I think that's when that pattern broke finally. But it was a rough couple of years there. It's like, unless you were a diehard fan, if you in any way wanted something that they weren't presenting, it was like very much you versus them for a while.
Yeah. And like nothing that was like right to you, even though we live in the technology age where anything's at your fingertips. Like you can't just turn on a TV and see an alternative,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people were reliving stuff on the network and all that during that time period, and that was like their sanctuary. It was like, oh, I'm going to go back and watch WCW, Saturday night or whatever, like from the start, to see how that went, and the Attitude Era Raws and so, and then that's led to that. Or a lot of people did turn to the alternative and did start getting more into ROH and New Japan. Like I know that's probably the most I watched ROH was during this time, just between doing the show with Kevin Kelly, and then when we started PlayStation.com, like Brad was super into ROH, and so we covered it. We would do like regular. I did regular recaps. So I think we were like hungry for an alternative. I think a lot of people turned to those options, pre All In or whatever, when the Elite started to pop up. Because when's that? When's the first All In? 18? 19?
18, I think.
Yeah,
All of
'cause
18.
Right, because Dynamite starts what? Like fall of 19?
Fall.
Is that when that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Color trunks Punk guy here. I always mark out for his trunks. I don't know why, because
It's got Halloween themed trunks.
I think so.
you
You immediately it looks orange.
Yeah, or
The ropes are pink, which immediately tells you we're in October during this time period.
who's the G Coleman one?
I was like, what is it, like 09 to when did they finally give up on that grift? I think it's 09 to
18,
14, 15,
17,
or is it that far in?
Yeah.
Might
I'm
even be
pretty
deeper than
sure. I feel like the Orton and Hardy cell match had the pink rope, but I might be.
I don't think so. I just
might
watched it
know.
recently. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that one. I think it's done by then.
Okay.
It might be 17.
No, that was something. In my shirt, I have like a Brian Daniels yes pink shirt for some reason. I don't even know.
They went all in. I
noticed
mean,
that
they
the
were
other day.
Mhm.
them in the NFL were like full on Susan Komen, for the cure or whatever. Pink everywhere, all pink everything during October. Is this the only
Yeah,
match
did
on the
that,
show?
is there? Is that
Probably
100?
is, right?
I was just looking that up. I was just looking that up.
I do believe there's another match on the show.
Okay, I didn't know if they were going to go like the full 35 minutes
Yeah,
or
there's
something
two.
on this.
No, yeah, I think we're in for 2 matches tonight.
Yeah,
I think you don't see Sheamus in
decent
red
length.
that much.
Mm-mm.
But so what did
Was there?
did you guys like Punk with Heyman?
Yes.
Yeah. I was never as high as everybody else, but I did like it. I think I'm really down on like the breakup stuff though that happens post title run.
Like the transition to Ryback and Curtis Axel is just like a little much.
I wonder if Punk takes a break after. I don't hate to say we lose the Brock match, right? Because it's an all-timer. But if Punk takes a break after 29 against Taker, it takes like 6 to 8 months off, mentally kind of refreshes, and comes back with a hot angle. Maybe he comes back with a Rumble. Rumble 14 is his return. He takes almost like a year off, just goes and steps away and chills on better terms than what he ends up being. Do you think he like sticks around for a while? I feel like he may. Like I feel like that post, he was so angry about Mania, and then like that follow up to your point is so shitty with him feuding with Heyman and Heyman trying to find guys to take him out and all that.
You could just tell he wasn't into it.
Yeah, and then the whole stuff happens with the staph infection. Like if you take that all off the board, I wonder if like the adversarial shit's not there,
Well, that's kind of wishful thinking, but his personality would probably say otherwise, that eventually whatever did happen would happen if it's at the end of 14 or the beginning of 15 or whatever.
Right.
Whenever WrestleMania season come around, he would always kind of get a little wormy.
Well, if you look at how things go, I mean, I guess you assume Batista still comes back in that point, but I'm wondering if like he could have got the WrestleMania 30 main event. Maybe if he does come back with a hot angle after the layoff, maybe it's there for him.
What he was going to take originally, he was going to get the Triple H match or whatever and go over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if he doesn't do that, we lose Brian though.
Yeah, but does he even like that? Might not happen because like if he's gone, does he really even come back with an issue with the Authority? You know what I mean? Like, is that even the same? Does that all go the same or whatever? Who knows? I don't know what hot angle he could come back with, but I'm just envisioning like,
Well, it ain't Jericho for the fourth time.
No. I mean, you could do like Punk. You could just do Bryan Triple H, and Bryan not do the world title stuff, and it's Bryan versus Triple H Authority versus him for screwing him, and then Punk comes back, wins the Rumble, and beats Orton in the main event. Yeah, I'm not saying that's better than what we got, but I'm saying if you're looking for a world where you placate Punk and he stays around long term, if he takes that layoff, recuperates, takes a mental break, kind of does the Brett 96, you know what I mean? Go away for a little while and kind of get your shit in order and come back refreshed. Not that Brett lasts that much longer, but that was obviously a unique circumstance.
And then you can go Batista, Roman, get Roman out of that weird Kane match. Or honestly, you could maybe do Punk Cena. That's the year to do Punk Cena.
Right. You could do that too. So Cena wins the belt, unifies the belts at TLC or whatever.
Could have done the Brock match there too.
Yep, Brock rematch.
Yeah, I mean, you lose the streak stuff. I mean, 30 is a tough one to sit here. You know, there's some seminal shows in WWE history where you start doing the fantasy booking and you're messing with some quality stuff. So like, I don't know, is there a way to make 30 better? I think there's actually parts of 30 that are kind of crappy, but like the big stuff really works. So is that like a show you really want to start picking apart? I don't know.
I would in a heartbeat. I'm very low on 30, but I understand I'm in the minority.
Are we gonna get bored here?
Yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah, we got a good classic contest. When for you guys, when did the in-ring work start picking up during like because like we eventually get to a point in the later 10s where the in-ring work just reaches like an unreal level of athleticism, but I feel like we had like steps to get there. I feel like 2011, especially like JT, when we covered 2011, we started to see glimpses of it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's when they stop, like when they throw the towel in on the Lost Generation, right? We've talked about this concept of the Lost Generation quite a bit. It's the gap of guys because the older guard started lasting longer and didn't necessarily pass the torch. When 2010 hit and all of a sudden they're all gone, like that group of guys that should have been already ramping up by 08, 09 suddenly aren't really ready. Like, and they put a lot of time in those guys, right? Like Swagger, Kofi, Miz, Ziggler, Morrison, like all those guys in Kennedy. Even if you want to go back a little bit further, Carlito, Umaga, like all those guys that were starting to really put stock in 07, 06, 07, 08 were supposed to be the next guys, right? And two reasons that gets fucked up. One is that middle ground never really takes off. That's like Benoit, Eddie group, right? Like those guys, Ray, like they're all great, but they don't really ever take over the era. Cena, Batista kind of bridge it, but then Shawn, Hunter, Taker, Kane, those guys all last like 5 years more than they probably should have. And we're seeing it now, like on Place to Be, like we're doing 09 into 10, and WrestleMania 26 hits, you know what I mean? And like all of a sudden, these guys are all gone. Like Shawn's done, Taker's pretty much done. He starts to go to super part-time. Kane, I guess, whatever. Hunter starts going part-time at that point, right? So it's like, where's that? No one fills that gap. And they were just starting to sign the indie guys, not fully buying in yet. So, but to your point, I think 11, 12. Yeah. NXT start FCW and NXT are kind of starting. But I think to your point, like Punk and Bryan, because they're starting to get pushed, I think it's like a poor man's comp to like 94, 95 WWF, right? When they started to push Brett and Shawn and Kid and other guys, like they weren't, the whole promotion wasn't up to their level yet, but like there were glimpses of what they were trying to do with the style. And I think that's Punk and Bryan and these guys are starting to push the style ahead. And then when you get to 15, 16, 17, and you start getting Balor and Samoa Joe and AJ Styles comes in, you know, like, and you start getting those guys is when then it goes up a level. That's my thought. I don't know, Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, it's the indie. They also changed their style too a little bit too, where they get a little more uppity, a little longer matches, less main event style, more in in more of a story kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, once certain people there found out about PWG, I think it was very reflective in the television style. I think the Shield also did a big task of like elevating the in-ring style. I feel like those matches, and I'm looking forward to getting there in War when we cover like 12 and 13, just to kind of see the impact they have. Because in my head, like it's like a switch. Like the Shield matches immediately stand out, and they kind of, I think, stand the test of time of being like modern day, really, really, really good.
Oh, they were
matches.
awesome, and it was like a huge breath of fresh air. I think it's what everyone was hoping the Nexus was going to be, and I think that's another group of guys that washed out. That's like
Yeah,
7 guys, and none of them hit besides Brian, and he's Brian, right? So I was like, he was going to hit if they gave him a chance. But Barrett, that was like a big miss that he just ends up becoming a mid-carder. All those guys, the guys I all named, like Morrison, Swagger, like those guys, they looked like they were going to push to the McIntyre, right? It took him a decade to figure it out. All those dudes, while they were fine, they just weren't stars that were going to carry you. So they lost a whole, half a decade on dudes they were trying to build and prepare that just didn't click. They're kind of lucky Brock comes back too.
Yeah, that's their investment into the developmental. You think about
Yeah.
the Shield guys; those are much higher valued guys that they can plug in from the Nexus guys with your Otungas and your Tarvers and just to name those guys, those low end guys. Slater's fine, but he's a lower card guy.
Yeah, it's not going to carry a promotion.
No, for sure. And then you miss on Barrett. Ryback is out of place there. He's okay. He ends up being fine, but he's out of place.
He could have been a star. He is at a point. It's right around now, right? Is when
it's
he's
right
like,
now, yep. Mm-hmm.
It's right here when I think he could have beaten Punk and it would have been super over. I think that's how hot he was.
But it's not as he was presented in the Nexus. So it's just like kind of like
no.
All right, Triple H gets in there, he kind of invests into the, like Marcus said, the PWG system or idea or whatever. They get that hungry like there. Then they get the Rollins, the type. Reigns is their guy. Ambrose, get him in there. And then they just kind of have a better crop and more quality and more investment, and we're off.
And it raises the floor. Is what they do. They raise the floor. Is what they do. Because they get so athletic and the matches, the base quality becomes like a 3. Now you get some years like 2018, and when you get a down year during this time period, the floor is still nice and high. Right? Like we're not getting ones and a half, 1.5s like you got in the 90s or even in the 2000s at times. You're getting like 3. Like you may get the rare 4 in some of those years, but like the baseline becomes high, but that also the ceiling doesn't raise with it a lot of times during this time period, unless it's like the extreme peaks. That's my thought on it. It's like you have less variance, but you lose the great, but you also lose the all-time bad. So you can become a world of 3 to 3.5 star matches that are interchangeable and allow you to miss TV because, okay, I'll just see another 3-star match next week if I miss this week. You know what I mean? Like it's just, they're all very good matches. The most average. Yeah.
In that era, it's definitely like repeat heavy too. It's a lot of fucking title matches. And like, this didn't work out, so we're gonna play it again next week or next month. And just,
and it becomes like you could argue the most random average Raw match of 2018 is the best match on like 80% of Raw from 1995. You know what I mean? It's true. It could be some random throwaway Rollins match from a June Raw of 18 or 19 or 17, whatever you want to say, and it's probably maybe like the 70th best match that year is like the best match in Raw in 95. It's just all relative.
Yeah, but 95 is much more memorable because it's nostalgic and it's not the same. It's not the same thing we saw last week. Yeah,
you don't have the quantity. The quantity.
So, do you think the spinner belt held on a little long?
Yeah, well, it doesn't spin, but probably like Punk holding it looks. Punk should have been the guy that like brings back a classic belt. That match was good. I mean, it was fine.
The next guy was it?
Right. Punk won clean.
What do we got here?
Cleanish.
By a slip of a banana peel win right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't focused, but I feel like a 3.5.
Yeah, I go 3.5 on that exactly.
But that's, main event on Ion, like a 3.5. This is what we're saying, right? Like, this start out a 3.5 star match on this is, I guess this is their equivalent to Brett Owen, like we watched on Action Zone, right, Ryan? I mean, it was like, they're 2 top guys, 2 champions.
Got old Sheamus belly aching, getting his heat back.
I mean, Sheamus has a good 12, right? I mean, he's got the Extreme Rules match with Ryan. It's like awesome.
Sheamus has a really good like end of 11 and whole year of 12, I think.
He wins the Rumble.
Mhm.
He has the memorable moment at 28. Yep.
Mhm.
Is the SummerSlam match Henry this year?
No, that was 11, wasn't it? Because when's the Hall of Pain? Or is that third? I suck at all this.
That's
I'm used-
11. 11.
Right? What's the Hall of Pain?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when he starts getting back over, I think. I think through 10 and early 11, everyone's like, oh, it's Triple H's boy, whatever. And then he's a heel, but he says they'll fight Henry, or I'll fight him. Is that right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And so then, and everyone, they have a banger, and everyone's like, oh shit, Sheamus can go. Like, he's a badass. And I think he was the favorite to win that Rumble in 12. Like, it was him and Jericho were kind of the two guys,
Yeah,
right, coming in. So I don't think anyone was really upset when he won.
It looks like Sheamus worked Del Rio at SummerSlam 2012, and he works him again at Night of Champions in September. So that's what he's coming off of.
And then he gets
as we
into the
watch
Shield
this.
stuff at the end of the year into 13, right? He
Yeah.
kind of gets, he's in all those 6-man tags, which are all great.
Him with Team Hell No? Or is that, no, that's Ryback. Team Hell No.
Yeah. Or he teams a lot with like Orton.
Orton and Big Show. Yeah.
They have the
Ryback,
WrestleMania
Orton,
match.
Big Show. Yeah, they kind of rotate through those guys.
That upper mid card.
When does Henry do the retirement? Is that 13 with Cena?
Ooh.
I think it is.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's summer 13.
With the salmon jacket.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh.
They're really trying to do the presentation up on this show. Like, Cole and Miz are very on point with their talk, the way they're breaking down the match and analyzing it. We have the big hype packages. Like, again, they really know how, from 1986 till now, they are really good at debuting shows.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say they're always great at keeping up with it, but like they're really good at premieres. The Box Center.
Box Center, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So was this
Yeah, they
taped with Raw
backstage-
already?
Let's look.
It had to be. I don't think. I mean, it's
Smells
always
like
live,
SmackDown.
obviously. On Ion. No SmackDown, anything?
That'd be my guess.
Tulsa seems like a SmackDown town.
Yeah, it was taped on October 2nd. So is this a Wednesday or a Thursday?
I think it used to air on Wednesdays. I know at some point it was Wednesdays. I don't know if it always was, but I know on the network it was Wednesdays.
It's Thursdays now, but yeah. So yeah, this is taped the day before. So they're taping Tuesday SmackDowns here.
Was SmackDown on Tuesday at that point?
No, it's on
No,
Thursday.
Friday
Thursday
night
or
on
Friday. Oh,
Sci-Fi. Yep.
That's right. It doesn't go Tuesday till what? Like when it goes to USA or whatever?
When they do the draft.
Yeah. Which
2016.
I hated Tuesday. I know we talked about this, but I did not like Tuesday SmackDown.
I
I liked like having like pay-per-view Raw SmackDown, even though it was a lot of wrestling, and then like you're kind of like done for the week.
I kind of like it staggered.
But,
It's like you gotta
yeah.
get one, take a break, get another one instead of like the whole week, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now it's like we got shit every night, so it doesn't matter. Between NXT on Tuesday, A&W Wednesday, Thursday's what Impact, Friday, SmackDown and Rampage, Saturday Collision, something every day easily now.
really is. It's too much. Way too much.
That's what we dreamed of as a kid. Was like, where
Mhm.
was this when we really had the free time to watch it all? I would have died for this in 1994.
You're
So-
just gonna condense in the week. Oh, next week, Big Show versus Orton. So that's still committed. They're still committed.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I wonder how many weeks they go with like a name match. I feel like it lasts a while for them. I feel like they have like, oh wow, that guy worked main event. Like I feel like that's a thing for a bit.
I know the Shield and the Wyatt had an absolute barn burner in
Mhm.
14.
Yeah.
I think it was better than the Extreme. No, what was it? Elimination Chamber match, maybe.
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
Now
big
you're talking
show.
WrestleMania rebooks. That could have been a Shield versus Wyatt at 30. That could have been one that we could have thrown on
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
That seemed like
It
a
would have been
no-brainer.
way better for Wyatt.
Yeah, okay, so week 3 is Kofi is for the IC title.
All right, that's still a match, I'd say.
Yeah, we might as well go through it. The 4th episode is, and there's always seems to be like a squash match afterwards, or squash-ish short match.
All right, look at this. Number 1 contenders tag tournaments. We got Rhodes Scholars beat the Usos. Santino and Ryder versus Gabriel and Kidd still to come. Primetime players versus, who's that? Kofi and stupid thing is on my screen. I couldn't see it. I missed
Truth,
it all.
maybe? Is it Truth?
Epico and
Probably.
Primo versus Mysterio and Sin Cara. But yeah, Kofi and Truth versus the primetime players.
Cobras. Get it?
Oh boy, no.
Cobras.
That's right. I remember that stupid shit.
This is in the middle of the company, either like combining names or everything is like team,
yeah,
blah blah blah. Like somebody there had just seen like the Burger King promotional material for Twilight from like 2009.
Yep, that was the whole thing.
Everybody was a team.
You guys feel like they missed on Ryder, or do you feel like he had to go be super indie guy to break out? Like, do you think he had it in him to do it here?
Yeah, I think he did.
I don't think they'd have trusted him. I thought so.
Well, that's the problem, because if you're not Triple H or Shawn Michaels or from that old class, you don't get a look.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy too, because
he had a ceiling.
Well, it's crazy because he has the look. I mean, the dudes and like he did what they always tell everyone to do, right? Walter did it now. Like, get your ass in shape, right? So he gets himself in great shape. He talks, he hustles, like he kind of did the ruthless aggression thing, like he did his thing. He went out and did it. I think I think they probably looked at him backstage as just a fucking mark. I mean, that had to be what it is, right? Like, we're not going to push this fucking mark kind of thing. Like, dude loves wrestling toys and all this other shit. Like, that had to be what it was, because it was still kind of old boys club back then.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes around now, I think it's probably different, right? When it's like kind of the nerd era gets more embraced later on. But I think at that time, he was still up against it.
He made that WWE buddy for 12, 13 years.
Oh, he did fine. No, he did fine. Yeah. I mean, if you asked him right now, like, I think he's pretty happy probably with how his career went overall. Like, he, like you said, he cashed in for a while. He was always featured. Had a big Mania moment at 32. Like, he kind of got that. And now he just makes bank on the indies, like being an asshole. So it's like, he's got a hot wife. I mean, I'm sure he's very happy with where he's at, I'm sure. But
yeah, no, he's had an amazing run.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I was on the train in 2011. I was like all in. I was watching YouTube shows. Very like LA Knight vibes in 2011. For like right now is what he was back then. Maybe pretty similar, I would say, vibe wise.
When he won that title over Dolph in Long Island, like, that was a great moment. Then he's in that picture, that classic picture with all the champions, all the young champions. Like, that should have been his moment to ascend. I mean. And again, he was like kind of a homegrown guy, right? Wasn't he? He was just a local.
Absolutely, yeah. He barely worked indies and got signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did Matt Morgan squashes on TV, and they just took a liking to him. But yeah, come on, MSG, Survivor Series 2011, The Rock's in the ring, and they're screaming Zack Ryder's name.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. They went with him with the U.S. title the next week or the next month at the pay-per-view, and then he was thrown off the stage by Kane. He had the neck brace.
No, he got cucked by Cena. I mean, the Cena thing was brutal. Like, Cena, Cena always kind of gets a pass, right? And he is a selfless dude. He's put over a ton of dudes.
Yeah.
But
now, yeah.
This period of like 2010-ish till whatever, 13, 14, like, it's kind of rough. I mean, he kills the Nexus pretty much. We talked about the Nexus kind of being weak anyway, but him no-selling the DDT on the floor and winning that match at SummerSlam was like, that was the beginning of the end for them.
Yeah.
And then the cucking Ryder during him being red hot was like ridiculous. I mean, he's pushing him around he looks like, we talked about that war, Marcus. He looks like a complete non-entity by Mania.
Mm-hmm.
He's like fucking Randy from No Holds Barred. He's in the wheelchair, looks like a bitch. Cena's like banging his woman. Like, it was terrible. It was really bad. Kane's bullying him, and that was right after he was like super hot. Like it's crazy. Within a month of him winning the U.S. title, whatever it was, he won.
Yeah, definition of shut his water off.
Yeah, it was like if he got hot after WrestleMania, where they didn't have these plans, perhaps he would have had a better shot.
It's such bullshit, though.
No,
he didn't need, he didn't need to be sacrificed. Like he could have been hot anyway. What is that? What do you have the U.S. title, right?
Yeah, but they take it right off him. Right, they give him the swagger.
Right, so he couldn't keep that U.S. title to Mania. Like he didn't need to be a main eventer at Mania, but he could have been in a marquee match. There's a million fucking matches on that card.
Should have done him Dolph easily at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Or him versus any one of those 5 heels in that stupid match.
And it's not like he got hot in like January or February. Like he was hot in like the summertime, and carried that all the way through Mania.
He got hot without a push. They didn't start pushing him until the fall, or trying to push him, whatever.
Right.
It's on them. It's not on him.
No, I do think he's a way better wrestler now than had he stayed there.
No, for sure. He even has like a legendary like Goldust C-show run in 15-16. That's why they gave him the belt, because he was killing it, making guys when they were, expanding the company and adding to the roster. He was there to make them all on the low shows and see what they got.
He never quit or threw in the towel, or he could have complained, and that's why they kept him for 10 years, and he made all that money because the dude just worked his ass off and always tried and never took one match for granted. Like every match. Look at it. I mean, he's out here flying around in this match.
Yeah. So say he comes back, right? Eventually. I don't think he gets Cody heights, but I think he's got a chance to at least do something.
Do you think they missed a window, though? Should he have come back this year at the Rumble? I feel like he was like really peaking. I know he's still pretty hot on the Indies and stuff, but like I feel like the vibe around him in like December, January was very high. And I think him coming in at the Rumble would have been like a huge moment.
Perhaps, but what
he's also creative enough to get himself that hype again. With no machine behind him. So
he's got his finger on the pulse. He knows what's up. I feel like if he had if they gave him like a leash and let him go out there and be himself, he can do fine in WWE. You know what I mean? Like not like a short leash. Give him a go out there and let go and do it. You know what I mean? So
do you put him with Chelsea?
I think got to. They seem like heat magnets. Yeah.
She's pretty fucking good. You know what I mean? Like it depends what you want to do with him. Does he come back and he's your baby face, or is
no? He's gonna be a prick heel. Yeah, he's gonna be a prick heel with her as like the hot bitch.
Yeah.
He'd even be cool just to bring in for like a Cody feud for like 2 months.
Yeah, like a detour.
And like people still know who he is. Bring him in, do a program, like get another 6 months out of him, and he disappears again. Like
right.
Are we calling him Dolph? Are we calling him Zack Ryder? Or are we calling him Matt Cardona?
I think he comes back as Cardona.
Yeah. Zack Ryder feels like a dead brand.
Yeah.
I feel like in this Triple H era, generally they use the real name. Like I'd be surprised if he came back and was Zack Ryder.
They pick up a big win here.
07 to 20. That's 13 years of Zack Ryder.
Yeah, I don't care. I think he comes back as.
I don't know. I think
the name is too big right now in the Indies.
Yeah, he got more over as Cardona.
Small show.
Yep. It depends though. Cardona might not want to give up the trademark, so he might say, "Yeah, I'll be Zack Ryder," because. No, I know, but they're gonna try. They try and do that all the time. They'll try and. Whatever we own. I mean, Cody, right? Well, so I guess he's not really Rhodes, but didn't they fucking trademark Runnels or some shit too on him? That's why he was just Cody at AEW.
They had to call a truce, exchanging trademarks or whatever.
All right, real quick. What did you think of the show out of 10, just as a show?
As a show, I thought it was a 6. It was fine. We got a pretty good match, very good match to start. But unique segments with the in-ring, backstage, good filler. The squash match at the end was whatever. I go 6. I thought it was good.
Solid 6.5.
Yeah, I'll go 6. In our chat here, with our friend Jenny's listening in. She said Cardona has said that Ryder was dead in interviews. So
Yeah, but the
as
Heat
we know.
is to come back as Ryder. The
Yeah,
Heat's,
yeah.
you know, you're going to come back as Zack Ryder. That's the Heat. But you are acting like Matt Cardona.
Right. All right. As a pilot out of 10.
6.5. I'll go up a half.
I'll go 7 just because it's based off of the strength of the one match. Then we got kind of like the bonus match at the end. Changed up the presentation a little bit. Commentators were actually looking at each other while they were talking. So I'll give them a 7 for the 1 week effort.
I think I'll go 7 too. I think it felt very slick. It felt very well produced. I really like those hype packages on Punk and Sheamus, introing to a new audience, rolling out a big title match, champion versus champion, and prepping next week. They hard sold next week for Show and Orton. So again, they're just really good at these premieres. This is another good one. MVP, I'll go Punk.
Yeah, Punk.
Yeah, I'll go Phil from Chicago.
LVP, who took the loss in that tag? Was it Gabriel or
Let's go Justin Gabriel.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Matt Striker as your
bum in the back. I didn't know he was still around this long.
Backstage.
He's still around in 2012.
Yeah.
All right, best segment or match. I think we're comfortably going Punk Sheamus on this.
Yep.
All right, and then most 2012 thing. I'm gonna go with the Susan Komen pink ropes.
Absolutely.
That's a great one, but I'll go Zack Ryder's frosted spikes, frosted tips.
Okay, there you go. Or Cobro. Santino's another guy. I can't believe he's still around in 2012.
He was there at the brand split in 2016. He was still chugging.
That's crazy.
Unreal.
So, all right, another installment of the adventure is done, and we are inching closer to the end of the season, Ryan. We got 4 left of the premieres before we change topics for season 2. So looking forward to that. Marcus, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon on WWE War, Viewers Choice, etc. Be sure to check out everything. NorthSouthConnection.com houses all our video audio if you want to check that out for one-stop shop. Talk to you guys soon. Keep adventuring. I forget, did I have a close to this? I don't remember. Don't lose your adventure spirit. Adventure on. Goodbye.